Yo, what's the haps? This is 3900. All right, let me get straight to it. A world renowned uh, samurai warrior. Bear with me when I pronounce his name. Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi. I think I'm saying that correct. He once famously said, "It's preferable to be prepared for potential conflict, even when living peacefully." Another way to put it is, it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. What does that have to do with today's video? Well, just really this morning, probably about less than 24, a little bit more than 24 hours ago, in New Orleans, a person by the name of Shamsud Dean Jabbar. Shamsud Jabbar. You know what? I'm just going to call him Jabbar. All right. 42-year-old person. Now I'm reading this out of the BBC News. Pause, no Diddy. That's crazy. All right. What we know about the New Orleans attacker: 15 people were killed and at least 35 injured after a man apparently inspired by the Islamic State group drove into large crowds in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the early hours of New Year's Day, authorities said. Here's what we know so far about what happened and the perpetrator. How did the attack unfold? At 3:15 time on New Year's Day, a Ford pickup truck rammed into crowds gathered on Bourbon Street in the heart of New Orleans French Quarter. CCTV footage shows a white F-150 Lightning vehicle driving onto the pavement to get around a police car before hitting pedestrians. Mm, 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 mm. Police described the act as very intentional, adding that the attacker, identified as Jabbar, was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. This man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could, said New Orleans Police Chief Ann Kirkpatrick. Jabbar was also armed and fired on law enforcement, injuring two officers. He was then killed by police gunfire. Whit Davis from Shreveport, Louisiana, told the BBC that he was held in a bar with a large group in the aftermath of the attack while police secured the scene. When they left, they were walking past dead and injured bodies all over the street, he said. That is crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy work, man. And I'm from the city of Killers, man. Killer City, also known as Kansas City. And I've never seen anything like that. Never. And I've seen some shit in my day. You know what I mean? Real shit. All right. Who was Jabbar? The FBI has named the assailant as 42-year-old Jabbar, a Army veteran and U.S. citizen from Texas. Hmm. Hmm. That raised a lot of questions. Not to get too conspiratorial, but there is something called, well, at least to my knowledge, allegedly, there's something called a Delta program. A Delta, to my understanding, the Delta program is a program where they, quote unquote, whoever they are, program these assets, i.e., Delta programmed, and these assets become trained assassins. Or excuse me, they become sleeper cell assassins. So when you see these gunmen and certain individuals who carry out these mass attacks on the populace like this, it's not how you say beyond the realm that or beyond the possibility that said attacker was in fact Delta programmed. There's an interesting movie that came out. I want to say it's about 10 years ago, starring Angelina Jolie, and the name of the movie was Salt or is Salt, excuse me. And in this, Angelina Jolie, she grew up in the United States, right? Apparently, allegedly, that was her backstory. And she had got married with kids, something like that. But then out of nowhere, certain events started happening in her life, which triggered certain memories of her early childhood. Now, apparently, she was a part of some sort of Russian program where they trained children up to be Delta programmed, and they put them through certain rituals. Like I remember this one scene. This gentleman was sitting down in his chair, and he had this ring on, and he made all the kids come by one and kiss his ring. Now, Angelina Jolie, aka her code name was Salt, I guess. Um, when her character became an adult, for some strange reason, or for some reason, triggers started unearthing these suppressed memories that she had. And, you know, she did what she did what she did. You feel me? So the Delta program, and when I see stories like this, it kind of reminds me of that, or the Jason Bourne sort of deal there. Everything that I'm saying is alleged, by the way. They say the truth is stranger than fiction. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, continuing. A flag associated with the Islamic State group was found in the vehicle he was driving, and the FBI said it was investigating what affiliation Jabbar may have had with terrorist groups. Now, I want to know if he was on their radar before this attack, because you know what they say, don't not, nobody beats the feds, right? So I'm wondering if the feds already knew this guy, because if he was a part of some fringe Islamic State group, there is something called the Patriot Act, where the federal government can leapfrog some of our constitutional rights in order to, in order for, how you say, national security. You get what I'm saying? So they probably already knew who this guy was. They were already tracking him. They probably already had his phone tapped. Didn't need to have a judge to sign off on it or anything. They probably already knew this guy. My question is, could they have prevented this? Hmm. But, anyways, who knows? In an evening address, President Joe Biden said the FBI had briefed him on the attack. The suspect unloaded uh, videos to social media mere hours before the attack, indicating that he was inspired by IS and expressing a desire to kill, Biden said. Sus- mm, mm. Now, that could just be This is just alleged, but this whole IS deal, it could be the patsy, if that makes sense. But anyway, suspected improvised explosive devices were also found in the area. So this guy was fucking making IEDs and shit. I wonder what his MOS was. I bet you was I bet you it was IED. I bet you he dealt with explosives when he was in the army. All right. A long gun with a suppressive device on it acting as a silencer was also recovered. Hmm. According to a now remarked LinkedIn profile, Jabbar had worked in various roles in the U.S. Army, including in human resources. So he was a 42 Alpha, and IT. So he was either a 17 series, probably reclassed to a 17 series or 25 series before he was discharged. Let me read that again. According to a now removed LinkedIn profile, Jabbar had worked in various roles in the U.S. Army, including in human resources and IT, before he was discharged. He was deployed in Afghanistan from February '09 to January 2010. Now, let me just go over this real quick because they say he was in, um, they say he was in human resources, right? Then it said IT. So I'm guessing he started out as a 42 Alpha, finally worked his way up to reclass. He successfully reclassed and then was discharged shortly after he reclassed to whatever MOS that he worked in the IT capacity. So it was either like Cyber 17 series or it was either Comms, which is 25 series. He probably busted his ass he probably waited for a long time to get reclassed. This guy was disgruntled. This guy was very much disgruntled. He was. hmm I already know. I know his story. I don't even have to dig into it. I know his profile. But he finally reclassed to the IT MOS. And I bet money, when he did reclass to this IT MOS, that's when the bullshit started. That's when the bullshit started. That's when, his higher ups, you know, started scrutinizing him a little bit more. You get my drift? All right, let's continue reading. Ooh, and, that added induced stress that he probably was under after he reclassed probably led to him getting discharged. He probably got some domestic violence sort of sort of deal there. Probably went home mad at what his first sergeant was doing to him, so and took it out on his wife or something. I'd be interested to know about that. Or he probably got some DUI or something, or some assault charge of some sort, and they was like, "All right, buddy, we got you now." Chapter. For real. And then when you get into IT in the army, you have to get like a secret clearance. So they do extra digging into your. So if you go into like cyber security or if you go into like the 25 series, you get a clearance. It's not a top secret clearance, but it's a secret clearance. And they do open you up. You feel me? They look into your past. You know. All right, continuing. In a YouTube video posted in 2020, Jabbar said his time in the military had taught him the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's, to make sure that things go off without a hitch. Hmm. That could mean a lot of things, but in the context of this article, They're taking what he said in a 2020 video, YouTube video, and I don't know, they're spinning it. It's a spin. But he could have meant it the way that they're portraying it, or he could have meant something else. That's a vague statement, though. That's a vague statement, though. But anyway, but you know what? I'm not gonna say that. All right. Continuing, he studied at Georgia Tech University from 2015 to 2017, graduating with a degree in computer information systems. He was married twice. His first marriage ended in 2012, and his second lasted from 2017 to 2022. Okay. He also appears to have worked in real estate, holding a license that expired in 2021. He had a criminal record relating to traffic offenses and theft. Hmm. The pickup truck he was driving was electric and believed to have been rented in Texas via an app called Turo. Damn, they is getting all into this, bruh. BBC is thorough, bruh. All right. Are there additional suspects? The FBI said they believed the suspect had help in carrying out his attack, particularly in placing suspected explosive devices. Yeah, because if he was in IT, he didn't know anything about explosives. So yeah, he did have an explosive guy on the scene. Is probably someone mm, who's from that region over there, who's from Iraq, Afghanistan, who has a lot of experience um, making IEDs and whatnot. It was my cousin, right? Shout out, peace to my cousin. Uh, he was in 11 Bravo, and he was front line with it. He really was about that life, and he served. He did a couple of tours over there in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he told me stories about how this one time in particular he was driving on this road, and it was a paved road, right? And it looked like it had not been tampered with at all. And they're riding in the Bradley, right? And all of a sudden, the IED, just the ground just explodes and just rocks the Bradley. You get what I'm saying? So those guys who, how you say, those guys who specialize in explosives, who come from that region over there, they're very skilled. I will say that they're skilled in the making of explosives and planting said explosives. All right, continuing. CBS reports that law enforcement has not yet released evidence of those accomplices. They're tracking them. They know who they are. They're tracking them. Earlier reports said authorities were reviewing video footage by CBS, reported that the footage had been determined to only show bystanders. Hmm. All right, who were the victims? Not really interested in the victims. I mean, rest in peace to the victims, but I'm not going to read all that. Where did this happen? French Quarter, Bourbon Street, Mardi Gras area, yada, yada, yada. Hmm. Hmm. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Shit's crazy. It is, man. Y'all gotta, hey, stay dangerous. Stay dangerous. You want to remain safe? Stay dangerous, bro. I know I do. You feel me? I watch everything, you know. But yeah, man. Rest in peace to the victims and peace to the families who lost loved ones in this tragic event. You know, it's really unfortunate. And sir, shouldn't have done that, bro. Shouldn't have done that. I would, I know he has a manifesto. He has a manifesto somewhere. I would be interested into hearing what his rationale was. But they're gonna keep a tight lip on this because if they put out his manifesto and his motivations behind why he did what he did, it may galvanize copycats. They will have more of this bullshit. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, y'all keep y'all head on the swivel, man. So